Yes, welcome to Emuna is Our Future. Today is a surprise live class for the new year and Mashiach. That's the question that people are asking. That's the post that we're getting the most interest in right now. Especially, thank God, we had a beautiful beginning to the new year. Rosh Hashanah in Yerushalayim, in Jerusalem, and Rav Sholem Arush and Rav Dayan Elgrod were in Uman and still there. They're on their way back. Let's pray that they have a safe trip. And we are sitting now in my room, in my home, because there is a shutdown in Israel, and it's the best place to be right now during this time. We do have some more hand sanitizer, just because I love shaking this bottle around on these videos. No, but seriously, it's very important to keep in mind that we are in a time where we're hopefully, during these next 3 weeks, not only are we in one of the holiest time of the whole year, but we're also in a time where we can create an energy, not just for ourselves that's positive, also bring that healing. Avinu Malkeinu, we should take away this magefa, this coronavirus challenge, should give us success in fighting it and defeating it and becoming more close to ourselves and to Hashem and to each other, please God. And this is the kind of world that we are entering in this new year. And it's something which we should appreciate and not take for granted. So all of us are here in a way that is slightly different. Like we're not going to have the edited version that comes out every week on the website, and Rav Arush is away, so we won't be having our Munas, our future class or Muna class in the studio like we usually do. And that will be the same for the following week because it's going to be Yom HaKodesh, Yom Kippur, and Motzi Yom Kippur, and then we're going to be going into Sukkot. And so since we're entering this special holy time, and like we already spoke about in our many classes before, and you guys should go back, because we spoke a lot about this month of Tishrei, the time we're in, and you go back there and you'll see those classes are discussing Tishrei and what it is to be in Rosh Hashanah, in Yom Kippur, in Sukkot, and Shemini Atzeres, and Simchas Torah, and how this year comes out on a Shabbos, and specifically it's a year which Tafshin Pei Aleph has, which we are in now, is Pedus and Achdus. And this is part of the reason that we did this surprise class in my home, is because we didn't want to miss the opportunity that there's a special energy of tshuva in the world. Sorry, you made tshuva. We're now in a time of slichot and Avinu Malkeinu, a special time where we can really draw closer to our Father, our King, and everyone in the world has that opportunity to tap into the moment we're in right now. And it's a shame to not have some class come out live during this time, at least one during this month of Tishrei. Like we hopefully at the end of Tishrei, we'll have a Muna class again in the studio with Rav Sholem Arush and myself also. We'll do some nice classes. Hopefully everyone should pray. Have Yonatan Galet again in English. And please God, Rav Dayan Elgrod. We'll have some more longer classes from him. Right now we've just got the daily halakhic shir, daily halakhic corner, and it's coming from Uman till the last few days. And hopefully in the end of the week it'll be from Jerusalem because he'll have a safe trip home. These are the kind of things that are going on. Just keep you filled in what's going on. But the question everyone wants to know, and someone asked here on our YouTube chat, do you think everyone will know if they meet Mashiach, or do you think some people won't even have a clue? Good question. So I'm not going to be able to answer like Rav Sholem Arush. I don't put myself in that place. I'm not officially like leading these classes as a Q&A or as a rabbi to answer questions. But what we can do is, one, repeat what Rav Sholem Arush said, and it was very important that we go over it, and we're posting it again in our social media platforms, especially the classes leading up to Uman and Rosh Hashanah and the whole energy that Uman went global, and the light was mispashet, as we say in Hebrew. It went out, it spread out to the whole world, and there was an ability to, Baruch Hashem, to tune in the world to a new level of what it means to understand the light of Uman. And Rav Arush shared that on a very deep level, that Rabbi Nachman himself was communicating in some way or form, and some people didn't understand how that could be. I also don't. But the point is, the communication came through to Rav Arush that Uman is mispashet, is spreading out globally, and the light that Rabbi Nachman brings down on Uman Rosh Hashanah is not just for Uman this year, it was for the whole world. And thankfully we had from our friends in America, for example, they had Uman in America, or other people made their kibbutz, their different gatherings around the world to represent that, the energy, the simcha, the joy. Personally, I was in Yerushalayim. I mean, it's such a pleasure to walk the streets of Yerushalayim because thankfully we're allowed to go to shul, and I was able to be with my friends and my Rebbe, and there was all the different, capsulot and the mosques, and thank God there was no issues with any police or anything like that because the walk I had was local, and it's amazing that we were able to go ahead with those special prayers, and I appreciate that the prayers in Ummah apparently were very unified, and that's what Rav Elgod spoke about today. You can go check it out, Daily Halakhic Corner, that one of the tikkunim, the fixings of today, which is a fast. I'm actually fasting right now, so excuse me if I'm a little bit weaker or pale or whatever. We're going through, I mean, what the opportunity is to unify. That's what happened in Ummah, and apparently in this Rosh Hashanah there was a lot of achdus, a lot of unity, a lot of people prayed together that wouldn't usually. And we know that the concept someone's asking again that we should explain about Mashiach, and Rav Arush is talking about. So as I said, Pedus and redemption, and that's the idea of Pei Aleph, is the year Tafshin Pei Aleph, and we're only 200 and let's work it out, the maths, 229 years till the completion of this whole history of the 6,000 years of history, and we go into that new world for sure. There's no going back after that. We're in the world Yom Shekuli Shabbos, the world of completion, and that is the next level, the next millennium. You can look at it in the Ramchal Svarim and Moshe Chaim Dazotto, where he talks about these different stages of Mashiach, and there's other opinions about that. You go to Rambam in his beautiful holy Mishnah Torah, and we have all the different Chazalim, different Perishim in Shas, and people, rabbis. There's other very special rabbis who talk about what it is when Mashiach comes, and you can go to those rabbis online. Just Google it. But the point is that in terms of Rav Arush's specific message of Emuna, that the relationship with Hashem will become so clear and so one. And I'm happy today, thank God, the live feed. We shouldn't, take for granted. The live feed's working beautifully. I'm sitting right next to where my Wi-Fi is. We were going to have Nissan Black here, so we set this up for him to come speak here the other day. He had a big Zoom class for hundreds of girls in the US, and ended up he did it in Shmuel Novi, but I had the whole area set up for him, so now I'm using it, because there's a lockdown, and the studio is not open right now. So just to anyone tuning in right now, while we're sitting in my house and not in the usual Chut Shel Chesed, and we appreciate them hosting it on their social media platforms, Prayers of Israel and What is Our Future. But basically, let's get into this class now in a more intensive way, in a way that we can taste a little bit what it means, the light of Mashiach. Someone like Rav Arush, I think, is holding such a level, in my humble opinion, where he's already feeling that light of Mashiach. He's worked on himself for so many years. We're talking about 30, 40 years of going to Uman and working on himself, praying and spodidus and applying everything that you can read in his Garden of Emuna series. And not only that, but if you go to all his, his institutes, you see the amount of people that he's influencing, and it's very powerful. Someone's asking about subtitles. So the good news is the English subtitle is going to be on most of our classes on Breslov English. It is Breslov English. So you can go to those classes there. And Breslov English, you see the subtitles. We're going live on the YouTube platform now and the Facebook. Generally, everything we put has subtitles. I don't think I need subtitles. I'm from London, so hopefully I'm speaking enough English. But the point is that all of us, in our own way, are growing in our Emuna. And Rav Arush is a leader in this. It's something which he branded the concept of Emuna in the most obvious way. His books have become bestsellers. I myself, have read those books over 20 years ago, and we're talking about thousands and thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands, maybe even in the millions. I mean, he's printed 1 million Likkutei Moharan's, which are being sent out with time. We gave Nissan Black when he came to studio a few of the new copies. Here's Rav Arush's version, and they're going out and more. When we come to America, we give out hundreds. We sell hundreds. It was very popular when we first put it out. So the idea of the Garden of Emuna series being in everybody's hand is in itself, as Rav Arush has said many times in our Emuna classes, and I recommend going back to watch the playlist where you guys were able to ask questions, and Rev Darnell got translated, and we had our special guests. And it's not just like a small list of guests. I'm still like amazed what we accomplished within 12 weeks. We had Nissan Black, obviously. We had Yosef Daniel. We had Mordechai Ben Avram. These are people from all different kinds of lifestyles and backgrounds. We had Rev Shlomo Katz, and the music. We had Eliezer Kosoy, and Natan Malul, and who else? The list is just. We had the last cast. We had Nissan Black. We had a special guest, Ben Blackwell, and that was a big honor. The type of people we're already looking into Subliminal. We spoke to him. He's a very famous singer in Israel, and we'd love to have him come into our studio. I'm friends with him, and he messaged night that whatever time we give, he'll try and make it there from Tel Aviv. And there's other people we're looking into. You guys can reach out as the kinds of guests you would like, but what people are really want to tune into the Mashiach. So I'm trying to explain to you that the whole concept of Emuna going so out there, that people from all different societies, someone like Nissan Black from Seattle, someone like Mordechai Ben Avram from LA, Yosef Daniel from Mexico. And when we do our tours, we go to New York, we go to Miami, we go to Toronto, we go to Montreal. The Torah of Emunah is everywhere. Like, it's in every country. In London, people reach out. I get from all over the world on my phone. Everywhere in the world is reaching out. India, and all the different states in America. People want to tap into the light of Emunah. That's the point I'm getting in. So it's getting to a point where, with the internet being so evolved now, and the live feeds and the Zoom chats and the WhatsApps and the live feeds on YouTube and Facebook and all the different podcast audios. Podcasting is a big thing nowadays. Yeah, someone just said, Shalom from Mexico, that we've got the Emuna is our podcast, Emuna is our future podcast, and Brez of Israel podcast that's gone, hundreds of views and listeners, not views, listeners. And we also have, remember, I'm fasting, so you got to give me a little break here with my speech and stuff. But the idea of also my personal podcast, Unity Flow podcast, Relationship Flow podcast, and there's all the podcast mentality of the world now. And now I'm seeing personally, I listen to all these podcasts, Joe Rogan and Lewis Howes, and all these podcasts in the world out there nowadays. There's not a person probably right now who's marketing themselves doesn't have some form of podcast. So Gedalia Fenster is on our podcast, but he's also on his SoundCloud and YouTube, and we're happy to host him here as well once a week. Usually try to put something up, and the concept of Emuna through all these different things. And like I was saying, even the non-Jewish, the general world podcasts are the mindset is going to a different level of accomplishment, of meaningfulness. Like, of people are coming on the show and they're talking about a need for deeper look at life. And it's amazing if you realize that people are changing. And like we hear, someone here is now putting some art up. Yeah, we've got beautiful YouTube and Instagram art that we get. Thank God our team is putting out beautiful pictures. I appreciate them, the posts they make. And then on Instagram, we have someone who, I don't remember the name exactly right now, but you go there into our Instagram, usually daily, we put up a post from one of our followers, and it comes out as beautiful artwork of sayings that are inspirational. And this concept of Emuna has gone everywhere, into all avenues, into music. We have Emuna music. That's why I'm saying with all our guests, the idea of music coming and inspiring our generation, and the opportunity to do a music revolution. That people like Nissim should not just stay in the Jewish world; it should go mainstream. Me personally, I'm a musician. I'd love to see more elevated music. I personally have streamlined everything I have on my experience of internet, and I've spoken about this being living more effective, 10 habits of truly effective living. You can Google that concept, 10 habits of truly effective living. This idea of living truly and effective is based on Stephen Covey, but we're taking it to the next level of Emuna, and these 3 days that we're in now are connected very much. Like, we started off with the first 2 days of Rosh Hashanah. That, to me, is the first 2 habits that are the highest level habits, the habits that Stephen Covey didn't speak about. They're the concepts of basically of having Emuna and getting rid of distractions. I believe those are the 2 fundamental habits of the 10 Dibrus, the Eser Dibrus, the Ten Commandments of Anochi, that Hashem himself took us out of Mitzrayim, and that's a connection of Emuna. We have Emuna that something real happened in the world, a real experience. It's not just based on intellect, but the actual experience of Emuna, like we see by Rav Shalom Arush. We see such a tangible Emuna that when you've met him in person, and it's chaval in that respect of the coronavirus, when you meet him in person, you get to experience not the coronavirus but the Emuna. And the coronavirus preventing now those tours that we do, the North American tour. We were going to go to South Africa, to Angola. We've mentioned many times here. The idea is we can do it online now. So at least you get to experience his tangible Emuna, how he speaks about everything with such a tangible Emuna. And that is now mispashet. His levels of Emuna is going global as well. So I don't know what happened now with the YouTube, but we'll just resume it. It's all part of the fun. Even my internet, for some reason, doesn't work perfect. Can happen. Thank you for joining us again on YouTube. But the idea of the Emunah going mispashet, even with the technical issues, that we are going and growing Emunah classes. There's so many, thank God, other Breslov Mashpiyim now. And like I said, in Uman apparently there's a big unity of all the different Mashpiyim, all the different people, influences in Breslov and Emunah. They came together and davened there together. That feeling of unity I personally had in Rosh Hashanah, it was powerful. And I read a quote. I don't know if I read it. I posted it in this in Black special class, the 12th class we had. Again, go to the playlist, watch it. And I put it underneath in the Facebook. But I'm going to read it today. And then this is an important document. This is the beginning of my personal book, United Souls. And I feel this is very much in one with the concept that Rav was talking about today. Unity, and Rav Arush himself is demonstrating that he's able to unify so many different kinds of people through Emunah. It's a universal principle, and the idea that this year is so ready for Emunah. I've said, Tavshin Pei Aleph, this is Pedus and Achdus, this is a time of redemption and unity, that there's a power, hopefully once the American election's out of the way, hopefully when all this energy of political divisiveness has calmed down a little bit, and people start to look again for the real inner content, not just this media-driven narrative that's making everyone crazy, where you can actually tune into a narrative that's true, the inner narrative, the narrative of the soul. It's the idea of the unity concepts, the Emunah concepts that I'm bringing down here, that we should tune in every single day of our life. We, all of us, every person has a soul, and that soul's communicating to us. It returns to us. I'm right next to my bed actually, and it comes down, the soul, into my life, into my soul, into my being. It's Saharahi, it's pure. And that soul has the power. I'm going to talk about it in this book, United Souls, by Eli Goldsmith, a journey towards real unification in everyday life. I'm very excited to get this out there. I've only got, right now, 17 pages. We're still at the beginning stage. But on the last few pages that I've written, and this has been, inspired thanks again to Jeff Pulver's community, who's given me that voice that I can, find things that I need to share more on a universal level. So over there, you see, I put, we are live, so now what? That's my latest chapter. So we're all pleading for another year. It's intense, especially in this difficult climate and historical challenge we all face. Survival is not just about our physical presence, but our spiritual purpose. I was just watching something about the Holocaust. Unbelievable what people went through. And, the Havda, we're now over 70-something years, 75 years since then. And we have to not just appreciate the gift of survival of the body, that I'm physically as a Jew alive, but we also the spiritual purpose that we bring. Yeah, that we must understand the gift of life in this world and our dedication to our purpose of every waking moment together. It's a unified experience, all of us. We all wake up, we all have souls, we're all human, there's values we all share. We can't underestimate the existence of our souls in this world, especially, and I don't mean this, God forbid, in any racial form. Once again, this is all about unity, but it's just knowing I'm a Jew and knowing my purpose, being proud of that, not being embarrassed or trying to hide my Jewishness, my Jewish soul, that I have a Jewish soul. Beginning quote, says says Mark Twain, Mark Twain. We can't, underestimate, that's here. On the Jews, here we go. If the statistics, I need to drink something, I'm fasting, I have to have mercy. If the statistics are right, the Jews constitute but 1/4 of 1% of the human race. It suggests a nebulous puff of stardust lost in the blaze of the Milky Way. The Jew ought hardly to be heard of, but he is heard of, has always been heard of. And remember, this was written in 1863, I think, or something like that. He is as prominent on the planet as any other people, and his importance is extravagantly out of proportion to the smallness of his bulk. His contributions to the world's list, and this means women as well, because his and hers, remember, we're in the 2020 now vision, yeah, his list of great names in literature, science, art, music, finance, medicine, abstruse learning, and then when we say even the internet, yeah, I mean, look, Mark Zuckerberg, the Facebook world, Google, everything. I mean, it's all, we can't underestimate our influence, are also very out of proportion to the weakness of the numbers. He has made a marvelous fight in this world in all ages and has done it with his hands tied behind him. He could be vain of himself and excused for it, which we're definitely not vain. There's no, I mean, maybe there's some crazy Jews vain, but the ones I know are very heartbroken, and we've gone through a lot. The Egyptians, the Babylonians, the Persians rose, filled the planet with sound, splendor, and faded to dream stuff and passed away. The Greeks and Romans followed, made a vast noise. Yeah, like a lot of big rash. They one of the biggest empires of the world. Yeah, I mean, me personally, is what I learned in school. This is how history was taught, and that was my big question: why the Holocaust at the end of it all? Anyway, and other people had sprung up and held their torch high for a time, but it burned out, and they sit in twilight now and vanished. The Jews saw them all, survived them all, and now as what he was, always exhibiting no interdependence. Sorry, I made turn to the wrong screen. Yes, there is independence. No decadence. Yeah, this is what there isn't. No infamies or age, no weakening of his parts, no slowing of his energies, no dulling of his alert but aggressive mind. All things are mortal with the Jews, all other forces pass, but he remains, and she remains. The Jewish people remain. What is the secret of their mortality? Mark Twain, 1897, so it was a bit more recent than 63, but 1897, over 123 years ago. And it's true today. Everyone who's honest can agree, and there's no, God forbid, some evil agenda behind it. Just totally with the divine mission of souls, that the Jewish people exist for a purpose, and certain souls, a universal message of all is to recognize, it's back to my words, the expression of different level souls. We all share the root reality of a soul of humankind. Everyone has a soul. Yeah, this is what we've been talking about the last few weeks. You go back to my class on Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, even today, now, fasting, the idea is to strengthen the soul level. A little bit of less physicality, a little bit less materialism. Yeah, the coronavirus has helped with that as well. Less materialism, more spiritual dependence, more spiritual interdependence. Yeah, that we should become more joined up. Yeah, and one of the main questions that aided my search for the Jewish soul was, why am I Jewish? I mentioned this before. That with the Jewish Holocaust, I know very little about. What happened? I didn't know anything about it growing up secular in London. I didn't know what this Jewish soul was so much. It wasn't communicated to me. I had to go search for it. And that so made me seek out in the Holy Land and study. I went to programs and learn. Like, you now have online opportunities as well. We didn't have that then. It was just email, I think. That was about as advanced as it got. And some crazy old school videos that no one had patience to watch. This led me to seek out my Jewish roots. And I went and sought it out. And that was Rav Orish's. And if you look at the beginning of his Garden of Emuna book, he sought it out. Everyone. To bring Mashiach, we have to sort it out. We have to really seek it, search, want, thirst, yearn. People were yearning to be an Ummah this year. Thousands of people. That yearning means something. Don't discount any yearning, anything positive by a human soul in this world should never be discounted. A tiny virus, as Rabbi Jacob said, tiny, minuscule, minute virus can affect the world in such a massive way. All the more so, as the Rambam says, that every single Jewish soul and human soul can influence the world towards the balance towards good. To take those scales of Tishrei and scale it towards the scale of positivity and hopefully the final redemption. Yeah? We must join together as united soul to understand emotional intelligence, versatility. Yeah, people are very into these thought leaders nowadays, and a lot of them say important things, and I agree with that concept of emotional intelligence and versatility. I mentioned it in my classes, but it's not enough. We have to have the soul level to be able to transform this technological revolution. That the AI world that's about to approach us should not, God forbid, take over without the soul. We need to have the soul. What should be driving all of the technological revolution is the soul. It's not enough to have these, like, these, I don't want to get political, but people who think they have the right to tell us how to speak and how to think, or this, like, political correctness, or let's say there's also the whole, God forbid, the cancel movement, whatever. I don't want to get into political, but the idea is that the truth, what should guide people as what's correct, should be the soul level. And you have to say, how do you attach yourself to the soul? So then we have plenty of classes all about soul. That's what the Emuna teachings empowers the soul. And how does that bring out Mashiach? Because the soul of Mashiach is mispashe. It spreads out into all of us, so that everyone has a little spark. Yeah, and everyone has. Someone's asking, they're trying to partner. What you do is you go to, a quick side note. It's important that people know how to do that. You go to the underneath the links. You press on the place to partner, and then it gives us a landing page. And over there, there's either email. You can partner through Contact Me Direct, or you can partner through buying books and share those books. There's also a link there. You can partner by sharing the videos. You can partner by just listening and commenting, giving feedback. You can partner by donating PayPal, secure their American friends of Emuna. The idea is that you can partner. That's another way. Once again, charity is a huge way of bringing the redemption. And this is a very important time right now during the 10 days of redemption. I never really, push out there too much the charity thing. And thank God that other people have that vocation. My thing is more just to share the teachings of Rav and the Muna, make sure the social media, everything's holding at a place. That's personally my mission in Chutz Chesed and Prayers of Israel. I believe also my personal mission, and I'm writing this book. As you can see, it's all about souls and Emuna. The concept of everyone here has the power to share Emuna is also can be in their own, social media page to write your book. Everyone here can write their own book and their own message. Everyone has a song, just like we're saying, everyone has a spark of Mashiach. Everyone has so much power and potential within their being. And it's so underestimated. We're souls. Why do you think the whole year, the whole calendar surrounds about what kind of year we're going to have, what kind of day it's going to be? Everyone, it's very important, these kind of realities of the soul that's going on right now. And the prayers we're saying, if you tune into the Siddur, it should be fine. The link should be working. Maybe I'll reshare it. Maybe there's a slight issue. You can email me and I'll send you the link and make sure it works. People are commenting. I'm just making sure that they know about that. There's no issue. We usually generally with the link. I can check it here right now. If you don't mind waiting one moment while I do so. I've got our Breslov page, like in Breslov English. You go to the Facebook. You go down. We got a nice, it's pretty much on most of the posts there, and I specifically emphasize that. I'm going to press it now. Let's see. Should be working. No problem. It's working 100%. And maybe I'll even post it again here in the chat so you guys can get it in person. It's the wonders of technology. This is what we're talking about in terms of the ability to bring Mashiach, that we can communicate online in such an easy fashion. It's not like it's hard, to share Emuna. Like in the previous generations, it was something which was a struggle for people to do. And, to be able to communicate these ideas of the Baal Shem Tov or in the Tzaddikim and of Breslov, you had to, travel somewhere or do something. I think it went out. Yes, there's the link. So you have the link now there. And I can probably even share it on Facebook. Let me go there. I just don't want to take anyone's time. Here we go. Let's go. It will tell me that there's a new is live. Yes, see? Look, I'm demonstrating, it's very important, that it's interactive. That's one of the ideas of today's class, even though we weren't going to do one originally because we're not in the studio. But just to show you the power of being interactive, that all of us can post, can communicate. Here's someone here on Facebook, Shalom Rabbi from Down Under, all the way from Australia. That's another place. Thanks for reminding me. I didn't mention Australia. I'd love to come visit Australia and do an online thing. You guys can make it happen. I have all my artists, my musicians, but specifically Rav Shalom Arush and the Emuna teachings, but the idea that it should go together with Emuna music, Emuna personalities. The point is to bring Mashiach. This light has to mispashet. And right now, our videos, thank God, are getting 60,000 or so. I don't know. Maybe you just need to reset your Google cookies. Sorry, your. Yeah, I used to work for corporate America. Would you believe it? And that was one of the things I remember helping guide people through to go when they couldn't get into links. You just have to, reset your cookies. So there's always that idea of renewal, resetting. This is during the 10 days. It's not just an internet thing, it's a personal thing. I'm trying all the time to grow. I'm a father, to bring up children nowadays is a really big struggle and a challenge. And all of us have that power to tune in to the soul level with our family and to see the people around us, the close people to us, as souls. They're not just people for us to, to get what our needs met or whatever it is, you see, to your agendas, like God forbid in politics, it goes on all the time, but to actually connect with people really, to be truly bound with the soulmate, to be respectful. Please God, I need to work on this. It's not something I'm mastered. And the ideas of Emuna and Rav Arush's teachings give us an opportunity, to really join together in a way that that you are more inspired, more enlivened, more soulful, more spiritual, and not held down by your physical needs as much. And that's part of fasting today. That's why the power of unity comes out in the daylight today, because, and Yom Kippur as well, such a holy day coming up, that when you're in the fasting mode, your soul is able to dominate more, and therefore you're able to join together the largest being, because you don't have the physical body blocking that. Now, is that the purpose? No, the purpose is actually Sukkot, the Man Simchatenu, to take all that spiritual energy from during these 10 days and to now bring it with the certain awareness of Hashem, to bring it with joy into your sukkah, into your inner reality. That's the idea of going into the sukkah, going into the inner realms. You're not going back into your house and making big part. You're going into the inner reality. That's in a way the lockdown that's created here in Israel. We have to be a bit more inner again. That there's an opportunity to go within and to now experience spirituality while eating, while dancing, Zman Simchatenu, while hopefully we'll have some sort of Simchas Beis Hashem. I don't know how it's going to be, or Simchas Torah on the Shabbos this year, but the idea will have that experience of joy in the physical things. That's the idea, that when you have a connection, like the idea of two people, when they connect physically, they have relations, that it's the most uplifting, spiritual, unifying experience of the soul. It's not just getting my needs met the way it's been made so coarse. And that's one thing the world really needs to work on and fix, is to be more elevated in how it understands what it means when a man and woman connect, or other kinds of relationships. It should understand there's a very deep sensitivity and oneness taking place, that's very spiritual and enlivening, and it's the power to procreate, to bring souls down, even if you don't create a child, but the physical manifestation, but spiritually there's souls being connected and joined down. And you can have in mind that the world should be populated through souls, through spirituality, and those souls shouldn't go to waste. And that's a very important concept during the Yom Kippur service. We fix that up just by being part of the Yom Kippur experience and the prayer service and the whole holiness of that day. And that's a very powerful concept also, as part of bringing Mashiach, that all the souls, a certain amount of souls need to come down to the world, to populate this world, a certain amount of people. Once that's reached that climax of connection, of oneness of the world, of all the souls that needed to be created and brought down throughout history, then the Mashiach can come. And that's the idea that you were asking about, how do you recognize Mashiach? So for sure, someone like Rav Arush, who's very soulful, will recognize Mashiach. It's not a question, maybe amongst the Tzaddikim this time, the hidden righteous people, they already know who Mashiach is. But for someone like ourselves, who are more physical and more in the world, then we have the opportunity to spiritualize ourselves a little bit during these special times. And hopefully when Mashiach comes, it will spiritualize the world. There'll be an awareness, a das, a complete expression of das to the world, of maybe through the internet, I don't know, but definitely on the inner level, everyone will become more awakened of the soul level, and the soul will start to communicate more, and the physical aspects, the agendas, the evil inclination that tries to capture us will have less control on our beings, so we'll become more spiritual. And that's very important, that we shouldn't let the outside forces control our inner understandings of who we are. It's a very deep concept. I hope I'm not going too much, but I think that the idea of Mashiach shouldn't be externalized and made some sort of like, messianic, like, scary doom, apocalyptic, I don't even know how to say the thing. It shouldn't be that kind of experience. It's a soul inner thing. There's no one who's going to have control. You're not going to, now, because this guy was going on and on about Mashiach, say now he's on the Messiah, he's in control. It's his his God, his power, whatever. All these kind of movements and all these people that comment, God forbid, hopefully not on our videos, but they get very excited, Mashiach is going to, rule over. That's it's not some like horrible, like, demonic force ruling over other people. It's a revelation of soul. It's a revelation of spirituality and everything, and so everything physical becomes one with spirituality. Emotional world is no longer blocking. Like the concept we came up with is that Joe Rogan was talking about. I mean, another guy, Chucky, as well. People were asking about this idea of blocking blessings, or how do we get to a more elevated like level of function. And like, so he's thinking technologically, like, with people like Elon Musk, they're going to put these chips into the brains, and we're going to communicate through higher levels of realms of thoughts. Yeah, whatever. This might take place, but we shouldn't underestimate what all these technological developments are happening. But at the same time, the whole real concept is that the soul will communicate. It's not these like, oh, and what's going to be, I'm not going to be able to speak. You're going to be able to speak because your soul is going to communicate to another being. It's going to be soul talk. It's going to be songful and with love. And there's going to be no miscommunication. That's in itself a whole struggle. Like, even like as I'm fasting, I can't even say these words exactly the way I'd like to speak. But the concept of communication is very important. We write a book, we put out blogs. Blogs are old now. We do live feeds, do this, that. And still just the tip of the iceberg of how much soul power is in. It's very important to realize that within your children, within the people around you, the new generation. They're doing all these Zoom chat things to understand that there's a soul connection when you meet with someone and communicate, and you intimately learn with them about something deep. Those conversations when I was first beginning my journey was so deep, in the combi van and the long hair. I got a picture of my album, together with playing the guitar. Those were deep moments of revelation, of deep ideas that I hadn't ever learned in any Torah book, but they were like preparation, building the vessels so that when the light came of Torah, I was able to be a vessel. And it's very important that we communicate with the people we're with and online in a more spiritual way, and we understand that all these things going on out are just stepping stones, like the technological revolution is stepping stone. The key is that it should contain soul, that the land of Eretz Yisrael has to be soulful. It's not enough that we live here, but it has to have a soul. It has this whole like intense, angry. Like, I was like walking home, this guy driving along, police guy, looks so angry. His whole energy, his whole get up. It's like, like this is not. That's not. It's not going to heal the coronavirus. This approach. It's what's going to heal the coronavirus is soul, as the Rav spoke about. More Emuna and more of connection, that people will be able to connect. They won't put out these biological weapons or wherever it came from. There won't be these problems like this. There won't need to be these kind of viruses, because we'll make a monoviral. We'll make soul experience. There won't be such a jealousy and competitive amongst the nations. They'll actually work together. There'll be more unity, because in the United Nations we'll have soul. It'll be a whole different experience. It won't be money agendas and power agendas. It will be soul agendas. Think about the whole change of everything when the focus is the soul. Think about how every podcast and every discussion online and every politics and every post underneath and the whole concept, well, that's Mashiach. Mashiach is soul. It's experience of Emuna, of Neshama. He has a Neshama that he's going to reveal his soul, and it says he has the Shorish Neshama, or the root Neshama of Moshe Rabbeinu, of Moses, and that soul is call out all the Jewish Neshamas. It includes all the Jewish Neshamas, which includes all the souls of the world, because it says that when we read the Torah, we have the 600,000 letters. That there's less, but when you learn out how the letters work, there's actually 600,000 letters that were written in the Torah. Connect 600,000 souls that stood at Har Sinai, and connect to those souls of the 3 million or have a million Jewish souls that were around, and all through each letter. For example, an Aleph has a Yud and a Vav and a Yud, so that's already 3 souls. And you take each letter apart, has many souls connected within, so we're joined up to many other souls. And then you understand how when we read the Torah the whole way through twice, so there's different levels of the soul, the lower level and the higher level, and then that's the idea. The whole year round we read the whole Torah from beginning to end. the first level of the soul and the high level of the soul. And then we go to Unculus. This is the translation. It was written by Unculus Ager, who was a Roman convert, and he wrote the translation of the Torah, which is accepted as holy, and it's written in different language, in the language of Unculus, or whatever language it is. For some reason, my mind's forgotten. The Targum, I think, is the name we call it, the translation of in the language that was Aramaic, I believe. So he put it out there, and we have this opportunity with this translation. And you guys can help me with anything I'm missing. But the translation connects into all the non-Jewish souls. He was able to connect all the non-Jewish souls. As we had this in black, and Yosef Daniel, Malachi ben Avram, bring all the souls in. All the souls, not just the Jewish souls, but the whole world's souls needs to be within that experience of what it means, the light of the Torah. And that's Simchas Torah. That's why we dance with the Torah, because it's connecting in the light of the Torah. Mashiach himself will have to hold a Sefer Torah. That's one of the ways we'll recognize that he'll represent Torah. He'll have Torah, but not like a closed-minded experience of Torah, but a universal level, a light that's inclusive, that brings out the souls of humanity. And therefore, once the soul level is revealed, there won't be any exclusiveness. There won't be these exclusive yeshivas that we're experiencing right now in the education system, where it means you only can get in if this and that and this and that. It will be inclusive. It will be an inclusive experience. Rav Arush himself is so inclusive. When I go there, like I took my son who's having some challenges, and he was so inclusive. He invited him to join the kollel and the yeshiva, to come speak to him anytime, to get help, and it was a beautiful, beautiful experience for my son. It was for me. It was out of this world. Or when on Rosh Hashanah, my son came. He's dressed differently to people there, and he was able to, join in and be part of it. Everyone was so friendly, and then he went and. As a Kohen, we duchen, I had in mind shalom to the world. That's another name for Mashiach, shalom. There should be peace, and should be shleimus, completion. That idea that we complete each other. We're all lacking if we're by ourselves. And I'm sorry this is such a long class, but the idea of and another thing, people throw all these like quotes from the Tanakh, from the Bible or whatever. I appreciate it, but just understand that we're not talking just specifically only scriptures. We're talking about the soul within the scriptures. There's a soul level, and if it makes you think that your religion is right, then that's already not soulful, because that's not inclusive. Soulful is the soul level is all inclusive. It's the shorish of humanity. So there's no like exclusiveness, like my religion, my people. It's such a false theology. It's so old school already. Like let's go to the new school way of thinking, of understanding that there's inclusiveness, and not only that, the religion is in itself is a Greek word. It's nothing to do with anything Judaism. It's nothing to do. All these words are just limitations. The idea of the oneness of humanity, the soul level, is something which is very deep. And the Jewish soul, which has a specific mission, like we said, is not something which is trying to, God forbid, exclude anybody. Yeah. So, in terms of someone asked for my email, it's underneath. I always put it underneath. Someone from Milan saying hello on Facebook. I don't know. Someone put an angry face. Why? Why be angry then? You're not being soulful. It's your loss. Try work that anger issue out. Go speak to someone. Don't share anger issues as that's gonna resolve mankind. It's not. It's not gonna make your life better. It's got to come from soul levels. Soul levels mean good midas, good character traits. I'm working on this myself. It's a very long class. Hashem forgive me. I don't usually do long classes like this, but this is something which I'm not going to be able to speak about in the next few weeks, and it's just a shame. In Israel, we thank God, in Jerusalem, we get to experience such deep experiences. Like Rosh Hashanah was so out this world with the shofar blowing and Shabbos, and we get to experience such soulful days. It's so sad that so many people in the world know nothing about, so many Jews in the world know nothing about the days of the soul, these soulful days, Shabbos, Shabbat, or Yom Kippur, to not experience a Yom Kippur, to fast. I mean, thank God Jeff Culver told me that's his day, he disconnects completely from the internet. Please God, one day, all the Shabbos, but the idea, and then Sukkot, the day, I didn't grow up, I didn't even know what Sukkot was. I didn't know. I grew up, I never really even saw a sukkah as far as I remember. I never saw a lulav esrog. Now with Chabad, hopefully it's everywhere somewhat, but I didn't see that growing up. It's such a chaval, as a child. I never got to dance with the Torah as a child. I never got to, to shake a lulav and esrog as a child. The first time I ever shook a lulav and esrog, I think I was already 18, 19. That all those years, I only put tefillin on when I was 18. All those years missed, or I didn't know about it. And it's a chaval, it's a shame. There's so many people just not knowing these beautiful ways to connect into godliness and what this root level, that there's soul there. It's not just some, archaic tradition. It's a soulful experience. It's spiritualizing a whole body when you shake a lulav. We spoke about it. The lulav is the spine, and the hadas is the eyes, and the arav is the lips, and the heart is the esrog, and spiritualizing a whole being. I already bought my lulav and esrog, thank God. With the lockdown here, I already got it before then. And we have the opportunity to spiritualize a whole human being. And like I said, the simple Torah, to bring the Torah in, the light of the whole Torah, which is connected to the light of all the souls of mankind, to dance with that, to be happy to open up our heart. And that's what I end off with. It's been a long one today. I apologize, the longest class I've ever given on these. And I just want to say that you go train, do your exercise, keep a healthy lifestyle, do all these good things, because it goes together. To have a healthy soul, you have to have a healthy body. Very important to have a healthy emotional well-being, so there shouldn't be blockages in the levels of spiritual experiences, and that will give us all the sensitivity after we do all the hard work. Hopefully during this month of Tishrei, then we'll have hopefully the ability to live what it means to connect into life with Emuna, and we'll understand what it means when Mashiach comes, the light of Mashiach, how it will bring everything together in a complete way, and that things like viruses would be just famous stories that we went through in history, like the story of leaving Egypt. It won't be something like continual and God forbid, something that we have to suffer from anymore. It should just be a positive reality, and everyone should be a Gemach Simatov. It should be sealed for a complete blessing for a new year. And please, God, when Rav Arush gets back and we begin again our Muna classes, please join us. And in the meanwhile, go back and watch all those previous ones. He covered a lot of the questions people ask in those Emuna classes, and I myself am happy to be part of this beautiful world of Emuna. Amen. And we should dance in Mashiach Sakena B'Mhev Amen. Amen. Thank you for joining us. Share the class, share the love, share the Emuna, share the soul.